The decks that have had access to Wirewood Symbiote typically do not win by comboing. Wirewood Symbiote lets you play so many really cheap abilities, you know, like the one Pro Tour Berlin Elves and Legacy Elves win a lot of times through damage. When the next season we saw Curio-based Elves, it was almost always a combo deck.
Yeah, and I won a PDQ with Curio Elves also, and I think one of the things that a lot of people miss that deck is, you know, post sideboard, if you're playing Chord, then you can steal a lot of games with Mirror Entity, and people don't see it coming. It's very hard to, you know, play around the elf deck comboing when the elf deck only has like 2 cards left in its hand.
Well, especially because instead of comboing, you know, in a zoo matchup, for example, you know, the Essence Warden plus play 10 guys is almost sufficient to combo. That's a combo too. Tim's gonna go on a mulligan. It looks like Caleb is keeping. Elves kind of deck. Mulligan's pretty well. It's very land light as a deck. Tim is actually being extremely greedy on the lands. He is down to 15 of them.
Ooh, wow.
12 Forest, 1 Dryad Arbor, 2 Gaia's Cradle. What I usually have liked in these lists are ones that are around 19 lands and then overload on fetch lands. The reason you're so land light is because when you're comboing, every land you draw is awful. Yeah. So the way around that, you know, playing as few land as possible, pretty good. You have a lot of mana sources, you don't need very many, but I sometimes like the overfetch philosophy of just every land thinning your deck 1.
Yeah, I've played elf lists that have as few as 18 and as many as 20.
Right.
In the past.
Well, this is down to 15. I have not played elves.
I have not played elves with 15.
Well, the other issue is that with 2 Gaia's Cradles and 1, you know, he doesn't. All right, so he has an opening. He only has like 12 turn 1 green sources.
He's very greedy.
He does not have any Elvish Spirit Guides either. So. Alright, attacks in. He
Counterbalance top, very strong against elves.
Caleb is Caleb down a land? No, Caleb's not down a land here. The Birchler Ranger, he makes turn 2 Elvish Visionary. So Tim Wilson on the play. No more plays. Caleb on end step's gonna crack the fetch land. Oh, Caleb's on 6, Tim's on 5. Alright, so both players a little crippled by their mana here.
Yeah, and as far as combo decks go, Elves is actually pretty resistant to mulligans.
Elves pretty resistant to mulligans. It only needs 1 land to operate with. It's making okay. So when he actually on the attack.
Oh, that's pretty nice by
Caleb's
Caleb.
Gonna. Yeah, it's a little greedy on Tim to go for that. Caleb's gonna make a Dryad Arbor and trade it with the Quirion Ranger.
Especially considering it was clear that Tim did not have another land.
Right.
That makes that play even stronger from Caleb.
All right, another attack off Tim brings Caleb down to 18. Tim does draw another land.
Oh, that's actually quite lucky.
Yeah, when
statistically, it's very low.
Remember, Tim will be able to, with as little as a Wirewood Symbiote, will be able to draw a lot of cards.
Yes.
He's going to cast Metal Sentinel. Really, just a 2/2 on this board right now, and joined by Llanowar Elves. Passes back the turn. Caleb will brainstorm on instead. Remember, Caleb, he does have, how many counterbalance is he running?
3.
Okay, Elves has to watch out for counterbalance set on 1. That's very scary for the deck. Granted, Tim already has 4 power in play, so Caleb will not be able to win with counterbalance on 1, but will be able to stop Tim from further advancing the board. Caleb cracks fetch land, going I think probably for counterbalance. Maybe he has. All right, well. He has 2 Thrun, 2 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Snapcaster, 1 Kitchen Finks, 2 Birds, 1 Phantasmal Image. Okay, could be tapping out. Gets green.
It's a novel.
Gets a Bayou. Probably Scavenging Ooze? No, he's gonna. Oh, he's just resetting his Brainstorm to Brainstorm again. Okay. So many options. I almost expect something like Fauna Shaman or I don't know. The one that gets me is the one of Lotus Petal. That one, I don't understand. Nile Spellbomb, it's largely just gonna beat a cycle. Elves doesn't really use its graveyard. All right, Tim Wilson.
Post board, Caleb does have a good amount of stuff to interact here.
He has no force or daze, so Tim with his gets his 3rd forest. And he'd love to see a glimpse of nature. If he has a glimpse of nature creature in his hand, probably will just value play the glimpse of nature, like on the off chance of comboing, but just in chance of. But really just to gain more of a board presence.
Another 4, putting Caleb down to 13
so
here.
Caleb, as far as sweeper effects, he has one Umezawa's Jite, which you need a creature to hook it up to, but which is pretty deadly on this board. He has 2 Maelstrom Pulse, 1 Dark Blast, 2 Diabolic Edict. Doesn't have a true sweeper effect.
Yeah, and the Symbiote actually makes Tim's board pretty resistant to the way Caleb interacts with his deck pre-board.
Symbiote, an excellent play here. Also, what is allowed is Tim can make plays. Yeah, he's going to untap Landwar Elves, replay Elvish Visionary, and he's going to probably will make the same play again. He'll probably make that bounce again on Caleb's turn. That interaction, superb.
Yeah, it gets you a lot of free cards.
All right, Caleb fetching himself down to 12. I think Caleb's in a pretty bad situation here. He doesn't seem to have many true answers to just a horde of guys. So Caleb, third land, Underground Sea.
Maelstrom Pulse.
All right, getting
forced to target that Symbiote.
Yep, and I mean that's good enough though. This card advantage engine is really good. So yeah, gets the Symbiote.
And Tim chooses to return that Visionary back to his hand. I agree with that play.
Yep, just another card. Pre-combat attack, because he's going to want the untap off the Visionary. Visionary, untap Sentinel, draw another card. Tim, Visionary is so good at just restocking your hand.
Yeah, Tim has recouped that mulligan very well.
Attention Magic players, if you signed up for the second draft open,
Caleb has not drawn any extra cards
seating
here.
for the draft portion of the event has been posted. You can find it on the pairings board in the middle of the room.
Alright, and we
Also,
have
if you're in
another
the
Nettle
top eight
Sentinel,
of the
and
first
another
draft
Nettle
open,
Sentinel, a find Finthorn Elves, and a
please
third
see
Nettle
the judge
Sentinel.
over in the
I
draft
almost
area.
don't like
You will
playing
be
the Finthorn
sitting
Elves on that
for
board,
your top
actually.
8 draft.
With triple Nettle Sentinel, I want to ensure a way to untap them. I guess what he's threatening this is exactly 9 power,
Yeah, that's...
which is the idea.
Yeah, I think... I would do that.
Okay,
So
so
you can just be like, here's 9.
here's not. I mean, I guess I would put Caleb on having some sort of answer, but you know, yeah, that's fair. This is pretty.
He hasn't
good.
done really much.
Yeah, Wilson with a Gaia's
Meantime.
Cradle too. So all right, Brainstorm by Caleb. I don't really know what he's drawing into.
Looking for land Maelstrom Pulse, that'd be very good, but...
Yeah, Elves. If you haven't played it, it's pretty complicated. Even if it's fun. There's nothing. You know, these cards are fun.
It is a very fun deck to play with.
And gonna crack another fetch line, put himself at 8. What's he digging for?
If he doesn't have another Maelstrom Pulse, it's just almost lights.
No, Caleb's in true form. Caleb's sideboard has 3 2-ofs and 9 1-ofs in it. Most of the 1-ofs not cards in the main either.
So Caleb uses Trinket Mage to find a Lotus Petal.
Okay, I'm confused. After the fetch lands, Caleb's life total is low enough that the Trinket Mage doesn't defend anything. I don't see it. The question is, what's he playing toward? So maybe the petals there just for the Trinket Mage target?
Not a very strong Trinket Mage target, though.
No.
He's
It makes Trinket Mage Grizzly Bears in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he's not even playing an artifact land. Which
Right.
It seems like it's like strictly better in most scenarios.
Alright, so Trinket Mage will trade with Nettle Sentinel. Caleb throwing his graveyard. I don't.
Yeah, Caleb's gonna fall to 1 here, so that just turned off all his fetch lands.
So how do you feel when players play their graveyard in the manner that Caleb's playing it? If they're not playing Dredge, I never really understand it. It seems like you're just throwing junk in the middle of the table.
So there are a lot of players when before you really start trying to get competitive, you don't take your graveyard into account while you're playing.
Yeah, you just like put it in one vertical stack like your
Yeah.
deck, and that's you can't do that.
You can't do that, and you need to look through it constantly, and it gives you a great deal of information about the math of what you're going to draw, of what you can draw in the future, of the odds to drawing to certain outs. So playing 4 certain lines, one line becomes better than the other based on what's in your graveyard, and those things are really important. And I do that just by looking through my graveyard, like at the beginning of every single one of my turns.
Yeah.
But some people like to just lay out their graveyard so that information is
I
just
lay
readily
mine
available
out.
to them.
I lay it out on the side of the table. It's like, I don't know. Okay, I'm nitpicking. It's fine. It's like seems like front and center. But that's the reason people do it. Okay, so Caleb out of the board. Okay, I like his deck. It's pretty cool. He has 2 Deathmark, almost certainly will come in. He has 1 Pernicious Deed, which will almost also certainly come in.
Not even almost. I will
come in. That will come in.
I'm willing to bet
anything
that's going to come in.
He has a lot of cards. I mean, with all these 1-ofs, there certainly are ones he doesn't need. Thrun the Last Troll to me seems like completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I like Witness in this matchup. I mean,
yeah,
he needs
like
to be able to
Witness
rebuy a lot of these cards.
More than a lot of the other things. You know, I like it more than Kitchen Finks, for example. I don't...
Very much.
Yeah. How Caleb decides to win the game here is pretty inconsequential. He's not fast enough to proactively win. He's going to try to become as reactive as possible. Probably the way he will try to win is counterbalance plus top plus, making Tim unable to do anything.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll see on forums people will knock elves and be like, who would play a combo deck that's that slow in Legacy? But most combo decks, as we've seen earlier, people put out a little bit of disruption and they attack you, and you lose before you're able to combo.
High Tide is not a fast combo deck. Yeah. You cannot win before turn 4, really. I mean, you can try on 3, but...
Yeah, but both those decks have something very specific going for them that the other ones do not.
Right.
In Elves' case, your opponent, if they're a creature-based deck, cannot get aggressive against you.
Yeah, it's like
the getting through the wall of symbiotes of visionaries.
You have this great defense to their game plan in addition to your combo deck.
Exactly. It's extremely difficult to attack the elf deck. It's extremely difficult to get Jit counters on an Umesawa's Jitte against the elf deck.
Right.
The deck has so many angles.
Elves really great against creature decks. And then High Tide goes the other way around. It's great against the control decks. It has this thing of, if you give it enough turns, it'll try to combo you with, 3 Pact of Negations in its hand or something silly like that.
Yeah, and one of the great things about High Tide also is just its unbelievable consistency.
Right. Well, and Elves too. Elves is very consistent.
Elves, it's not as once it starts comboing, it can be very consistent. But
right. I suppose it has some more variance in its hands.
You can't use blue cards to set it up.
You don't get to play blue. That's
No. In a High Tide, you also get to play all basic lands, which is another.
Which this one almost does. It has 2 Cradles, 1 Dryad Arbor. That's about it. Almost has all basics.
I mean, Elves, you're not really worried about Wasteland if you're playing Elves.
So what we might see out of Tim Wilson out of the board, he has 1 Krosan Grip. That might come in. Outside of that, I actually like none of his sideboard. Fairy Macabre, Tormod Script, Scavenging Ooze, Gaddock Teak, Thorn of Amethyst, Choke, Jitte. I don't...
Thorn's fine here.
Thorn's fine, but I almost just want to combo him again. It seems... It doesn't really shut him down. Tim's going to mulligan again. Caleb's keeping on 7 this time.
Yeah, Thorn, obviously, for racing other combo decks.
Right. The problem with these decks like Elves or High Tide is that when you play something like Dredge or Storm, you find that you are a turn to 2 turns slower, which is...
Not a good place to be.
Yeah. All right, so, I mean, even that, so Caleb, I think Caleb's best weapon here, which he'll try to set up in the earlier turns, is a countertop. As an Elves player, that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see counterbalance turn 2. I'm very scared of that. All right, Caleb, land go.
I mean, it's unlikely he even knows that can happen to him.
Yeah, Nettle Sentinel for Tim Wilson. Not the best 1-drop, actually, in the deck, though. It's one of the integral parts of the deck. And, right, there we are. Okay. Ooh, It's going to swing, put Caleb to 18, but yeah, this is how Caleb wins.
Yes, this is a pretty difficult way to win. A pretty difficult way to path for Tim.
Llanowar Elves. Caleb has...
Sensei Top.
Oh my gosh. That's like the last card you wanted to see. Dryad Arbor,
very much
go.
the last card you wanted to see.
Only does it counter your creature, but ensures that the rest of them will be countered
If
too.
you signed up for standard win a
Alright,
box number 1,
Sensei top.
please come to the side event stage.
And
your event is
just
ready to begin.
gross.
Once again, if you signed it up
Oh,
for
and
standard win a box number 1,
Dark Blast?
please come to the side
Death
event
Mark.
stage.
Deathmark. Deathmark the land. Cool.
I'm actually surprised you didn't hit the Nettle Sentinel there.
I mean,
As an Elves player, I would be
more sad if he hit the
more
Nettle
sad if he hit
Sentinel.
the Nettle Sentinel.
I'd just be sad either way. I
Yeah,
guess I would look at it and be like, I would look at it and be, if my opponent sat there and asked me, should I hit the Sentinel or the Dryad Arbor here? I'd just say, I don't care, man. This is, yeah, I don't know. Whichever.
Caleb going to 15 here.
Yeah, gonna try to find something to counter Elvish Visionary. If he doesn't, it's probably still fine. All Caleb will need is one. All Caleb really needs, I think the reason you hit the Nettle Sentinel is on that board then, all it takes for Caleb to win is a 2-2.
Yes.
And now Caleb's 2-2 have to be a 3-3. Still like a Scavenging Ooze here, counters it. Doesn't look like he found it too.
I think there's a Jit in there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, GT, sure.
Look
Look at all these cards that wreck elves. I'm gonna show them to you before I play them, just so you know how you're about to lose. Upkeep. He doesn't want to draw the GT. Not yet. He doesn't have a creature.
Ideally, he would like to leave a 2 and a 1 on the top of his deck.
Yeah, that'll pretty much stop any spells from resolving for the remainder of the game. Remember, even if Tim Wilson's spells don't resolve, they will still untap Nettle Sentinel. So Caleb's really got to make sure he doesn't take 8 hits from the Nettle Sentinel. Outside of that, he's fine.
Will you please come to the side event stage for your
Is that a Diabolic Edict?
standard win a box?
Submerge.
Submerge. That's
Wow,
even
it doesn't
worse.
even have to tap out. Okay. 2 of Submerge on the board for Caleb. Just peachy here. I don't.
If you're Tim, with even though there's 30 minutes left on the clock, which I understand is a lot of time, I think
I play it out because I want to see more cards.
that's okay. That's fair. You're playing against Caleb.
I don't know what Caleb's playing yet. If I'm Tim, it's like, okay, he's playing. Boy, it's a lot of different cards. I would get out my notepad and start writing down every single thing I saw. Like, all right, Submerge, check, countertop.
That's a pretty good idea, actually.
Yep.
It's rare you get into these situations where you have no idea.
Yeah, because the difference is that because if this is game 1, there's a case you need to scoop. The thing is because your worry would be that Caleb, with the sleeper hold down, would in theory just like make the game take 50 minutes if you did that. But because Caleb's down a game, Tim can count on the fact that Caleb will try to win this game. So I can just make it drag out. It's in Caleb's interest to finish it. So yeah, I would just let's record this card. Let's get some more information for game 3. Guys Cradle out of Tim. That's not going to do anything. And Kitchen Pinks. Here comes the win con for Caleb. And the top again. So at this point in Caleb's game plan, I think Nettle Sentinel. I don't even know if Caleb cares. Oh, okay. He's just gonna put the top and crack the top, counter it. Cool. Untaps, draws a top. Jite. Alright, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Okay, Tim's gonna scoop.
Tim's going to pack it in. So now Tim's like, okay, so he's just a counterbalance top deck with like guys and equipment.
Although Caleb's he's like this weird Highlander counter top deck, from the perspective of the Elves player, all Tim cares about, Tim can to himself say Caleb's countertop, even though that's not entirely true, because all the cards that Caleb's playing that aren't countertop cards, Tim doesn't care about any of those. The ones he cares
those aren't
about,
good.
No.
Maelstrom Bulls cost a lot of mana.
All
That's
this,
not
all
good.
the weird special things Caleb's playing are bad against him. So he's like,
Diabolic
okay,
Edict, not a good removal spell against elves.
no, they get to pick what it kills, and it's 2 mana. So I'll be like, all right, you're playing counterbalance
You
top
will
GT.
get my least important 1 mana creature for your
Yeah.
2 mana spell.
Probably get Llanowar Elves. Or if I really need the mana, you'll get. Yeah, I get to pick. It's
It's Llanowar Elves, unless I need them, in which case.
something else.
It's like a browbeat.
Yeah. Oh man. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
I would say one of these cards that I think people singularly misunderstand. There's a lot of cards that are essentially browbeats. I think my most recent example of a browbeat card, when it was first spoiled, Infiltration Lens, saw a lot of people were clamoring about it. A lot of people thought it was good. I think a lot of people drafted with it. I think it's another one of those cards that suffers from what I call browbeat syndrome. Of your opponent gets to make all the choices. No, we're presuming you're not putting it on Tangle Anglers because that's really good. Okay, but you know.
I mean, if you're angling some Tangle.
Okay, sure. Then you make 4 guys block it. You draw 8 cards. You're like, whoa, look at this. Okay, that's really good. But
Wangle Bangle. That guy was so good. Man, that guy was like my favorite uncommon in that set. Almost.
He's good.
As far as
I like
creatures go.
Skin Render. Probably
Oh
better.
yeah, I guess that one's
Scrap
way
Melter.
better. Scrap Melter and Skin Render are definitely better.
Flame Tongue Kabus of the set.
But Tangle Angle was definitely
cooler.
third.
It's cooler.
Out of the creatures on the uncommon slot.
This is now you got me.
But
Now
Razor
I'm gonna try
Hippogriff?
to.
That's
Razor
close.
Hippogriff's pretty good. No, see, now you got me thinking about it. I'm not sure I even.
But I mean, the Wangle Bangles.
He's good.
Pretty
How's that?
good.
I
Yeah.
like the card. I like the card. I'm not sure I'll give him like one of top uncommons, but he's good.
I took him very high.
Wait, but I think something like these things that let your opponent choose, what you have to read them as is your opponent does whichever one whichever one you don't want to happen happens. So Infiltration Lens, it's like, remember, say there was a 1 mana to play, 1 mana to equip or equipment that said equipped creature is unblockable. How good's that card?
Not very good.
It's fine. I think it's fine. Like Executioner's Hood's unplayable. 2 to play, 2 to equip, they gain Intimidate. 1 to play, 1 to equip, unblockable. That card is better than Infiltration Lens.
Yes.
Which I think that's like, people, you just have to make sure with things that give your opponent an option, you read them that way. It is worse than that card. So like, all right, sorry. Back to Countertop versus Elves. Tim will keep, Caleb will go to 6.
I'm longing down. And Caleb really just wants to find a counterbalance.
Yeah.
Even the top, not even that important. Once Caleb has the counterbalance, just raw counterbalance, pretty decent against elves. Tim's gonna have to test the water a lot, which is like a really weird place to be, and it makes you play out of your element.
It doesn't have many cards to burn. So sometimes when you test the water and find out that it's no good, it's just like it's a really awful feeling.
Yeah, it's difficult, and those of you who have had to play against counterbalance with elves, you know what I'm talking about. It can get rough.
You just don't want to see the card. Tim Wilson also playing. He has some interesting. He has an Azuri in his deck. That's not standard. I don't believe or at least I don't play it in Legacy Elves. He has an Azuri. His win con is his combo finish is Emrakul. I personally like that less than Mirror Entity, but they're both fine.
I mean, Mirror Entity can let you draw your deck more easily.
What I like about Mirror Entity is when
like-
I'm not comboing, it does something.
Yeah, and that's the other factor of Mirror Entities. You can kill people with it.
Yeah, I can just play it on. I can go Nettles, Llanowar Elves, Mirror Entity. Cool. All right. Activate. Hit you. All right, Caleb. 6. Is it good? Yes. No. Yes. All right.
All right. So we're off to the races. Tim may tank on turn 1, probably for longer than his other turns. That happens a lot with elves, whereas it doesn't happen with other decks because you really just kind of come up with this line.
Yeah.
Of like, this is what I'm going to do this turn, this is what I'm going to do this next turn if this happens.
What I like about
etc.
elves, best 1-drop out of elves, right there. I would say almost unequivocally that is their best turn 1 play.
Yeah, it's different than old extended elves.
Which is funny because you think about like powerful cards in Legacy and you're like, oh man, Llanowar Elves. Whew, that's great.
Setting up my
That's
turn
my
3
God
combo.
draw. And God draws Forest, Llanowar Elves, go. And 2 mana, he will make Priest of Titania. When elves, the scary thing here is very possible if Tim untaps, he has a win.
It's not difficult at all.
It's not difficult at all to untap and win off this. So Caleb's got to be a little scared. Birds, okay. Don't have it, please. Yeah, I mean, if Tim has, you might see, if you see tap Forest, a Glimpse of Nature here, that's danger, Caleb Durward. Like, he could play his whole deck. You wouldn't drop the land first because of the potential to draw Gaia's Cradle at some point during mid combo. And the thing about going for this turn 3 combo is like, even if you fail, it doesn't matter. You end up with so many guys.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Even if you whiff, you're just going to have a board that's extremely difficult for Caleb to
Tim
deal
was
with.
contemplating, so he's going to... Okay, he's attacking. So, okay, he doesn't have the Glimpse. He doesn't have that kind of hand.
He must not.
I mean, I don't think so. He does have the Cradle. So he has a lot of mana at his disposal. All right, that is...
Scavenging Ooze?
He does have one Scavenging Ooze in his board. That is Scavenging Ooze. I don't like that card here.
I do not like that card at all here.
Okay, well, there's nothing in Caleb's graveyard to get. I don't see it. All right, Caleb goes to 16, cracking a fetch line, and Tim also with no other play off the cradle. I think he's setting up for he has a glimpse. Makes me think he has a glimpse and is setting up for a huge turn. If that's
I would have just gone for it.
Well,
last turn,
I mean, if you had the cradle, you have to go for it.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Even if you have like 2 things to go with it, you have all the mana you'll ever need.
Caleb, I mean, he's still safe. Caleb has Deed. Possibly has a 1 of Deed out of his board. But even Deed on 1 doesn't do much here. And if you're Deed, you don't crack it on 1 anyway. 4 mana from Jay. I think from Caleb, we're going to see a Thrun.
Thrun, okay.
Ugh. All right, Tim's got to be happy here.
Yeah.
All right, go. If he has a glimpse, it's time to go to the races. It's not, it's not close, right? Plays a forest because he already has the cradle. No reason really to hold back a land. Like, yeah, if he has a glimpse, this is the last turn, almost assuredly. He just says go. All right, I don't know what he has, but
What is this? What could possibly
he appears to be fizzling. He doesn't have anything worth casting here. I don't know what is in his hand, but it's not good. So Caleb, a little bit of reprieve here. Tim keeping a 7 with as little action as he has in his hand. I don't like this 7 at all if he kept it. I mean, I'm not sure what he's doing, but I don't see. I mean, he's gonna Maelstrom Pulse the Priest. Sure, that's good. I mean, the problem is that if Tim has a glimpse, like, too little, too late, the Dryad Arbor is gonna get you too. Sensei's Divine
Attention
Shop.
to HG players.
Caleb really
Keep
exposed
the
here.
Back to the area where you were seated for deck construction. Your
He's gonna
pairings
K-grip
for
it.
round 1 are going to be posted shortly.
I think that's fine. I like that.
Players in
Very
HG,
reasonable.
Please report to your build area. Your pairings
Scavenging
are
was
going to
eating
be
2
posted
things.
shortly.
Or 3 things. Eating everything. Okay.
Nom nom.
Doesn't get any bigger, but And combo. Let's do it. All right. So that is a lot of lands out of a 15 land deck. By the way.
That is
That's a third of them.
very unusual.
Just says go. All right, and passes back. So Caleb still with more options. Trinket Mage comes out. Okay. So he really wanted that Divining Top. He's gonna go get another one. Caleb, I mean, at this point, if you're Caleb, you have to feel like, I mean, I would have thought I'd lost this game. So you're in that weird zone where you're like, I should be losing, but I'm not. I guess he's not on much. He's gonna try to find a knockout punch. If he can find his Deed, or if he can find a Jace the Mind Sculptor, even he can get this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tim's draw is just weak enough where Caleb's going to be able to steal this away. I mean, Tim drawing 5 lands, really rough for him.
Yeah, but I mean, it still doesn't beg the question of what did Tim keep on 7?
He must have kept the 3 or 4 lander, and you can't really do that.
Well, if you have access to your Regal Force, it's fine. If you have, he doesn't. His only mana producer, even 1 green Sun's Zenith, he could have Regal Forced, right?
Yep.
And that'd be fine. That'd be great. Then he'd combo off the next turn. He's gonna use Divining Top to draw his top card. I believe it's a Submerge. That's the only thing that makes sense to draw, and it is.
It is, yeah.
Yep. So Scavenger is gonna go on
reasonable.
top of the deck. Buy him another turn. All right. With Elves, the danger, you have a lot of filler. You have a small subset of cards that just like win the game. Glimpse of Nature, Green Sun Zenith, Regal Force, Visionary with a Symbiote. Any of those will just get you there, right? But you need to have one of them, I think, in your opener. Otherwise, you end up becoming a deck full of 1/1s, and that's not very good. All right, so play Scavenging Ooze, recap, plays the turn. Top, Caleb's going to top again, trying to find Jace or Pernicious Deed. Do we see anything else that he's going to try to find?
Equipment.
A Jite?
Yeah, or
Jite
sort of
would
Feast
get
and
there.
Famine.
I think, yeah, those are not knockout punches, but they're good.
Yes. GTA is kind of.
Yeah, GTA, Jace, or Deed, I think, is like, if Caleb can find one of those, you know, here we go.
Counterbalance.
Counterbalance pretty good, I think gives, yeah, I guess he has a top, counterbalance counts. And then the massive power brainstorm here, Caleb's going to shuffle that away. Doesn't have a counterbalance, he's getting a Bayou. He's going to probably brainstorm again or something.
There's a bird, he could always counterbalance.
Yeah. But he wouldn't crack the fetch land then.
That's true. He'd hold it.
I think it's another brainstorm. Yeah. Blue, storm it up. Trying 3 more cards. Bird. I think it's a sword. Or counterbalance or something. I can't see. But anyway, all these opportunities, Caleb, to get back in the game. Tim is still just one of those high impact cards I was mentioning. One of those draws away from just untapping and winning. Birds casts another brainstorm. I would almost wait to see if I find a shuffle effect. I'm not sure it's worth it to dig one deeper yet.
Yeah.
I would wait and I don't like that too much. I know
I'm
Caleb's
very greedy with my brainstorms. I wait so long.
Yeah, I would wait really long. I know that I think what Caleb is feeling is the pressure of he knows that Tim's won top deck from winning. He's like, oh, I just got to find something right now. I think I play it a little slower. I want to see more than 1 extra card off my brainstorm. I want to see 3. 2 if I have to, not 1.
Yeah,
and he's sets up Sensei's Divining
Play that
Top.
top. Surprised.
You're gonna eat Caleb's graveyard some more.
Surprised Caleb isn't swinging with his Trinket Mage also. A few turns. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Draw. Tim got the win yet?
a little bit.
No. Yes. No. We'll see. Tim has access to 1, 2, 3. He does have access to Zenith for Regal Force. Viridian Shaman into play. Gonna go for the Divining Top. That not gonna work. But you know. Tim just gonna pass back? I think so. At this point, if Tim has other 1/1s, he keeps them in case he draws a Glimpse of Nature.
Yeah, because that'll allow him to win.
Yeah, you don't want to play out your hand and then draw a Glimpse and go, oh, what did I just do? Cast and activate top. He's found a counterbalance. He may, at this point, he
You
cracked.
flip the top because then you have a 1 on top,
And he can't
which will
glimpse.
prevent Tim from comboing.
Yeah, I think Caleb's gotten there.
Yeah.
I think he's got the.
It's it.
It's over. Well, okay. Tim could still draw
He
Regal
can,
Force.
He can Regal Force combo. It's significantly more difficult to do. His deck's not really well set up to be able to chain Regal Force the way other versions can.
Right.
but
I mean, what he could do is
he can make a
or he
ton
could
of
even
guys.
just draw Azuri.
Yeah.
That would do it. You know, Zenith for Azuri. Go. That probably wins. No plays by Tim Wilson. I don't know what his keep is.
I still only played 5 spells this game.
Well, and none of them are the spells you want. They're all the filler spells. None of them are the I win spells. I think Tim with every opening to get it, I would have been greedier with my mulligan. All right, so Caleb. Remember though, if Tim draws Zenith, Caleb probably still can't beat the Azuri. Unless he has a Jace in his top 4. There's Tim's not dead here yet. Which is pretty interesting. Because he has access to so much mana, he can cast really good things if he gets them. But all his 1-drops are now dead. Alright. If I'm Caleb, I just let that resolve. Maybe, okay, I'll top, but I'm not going to put the top on top just to counter the elf.
Oh, definitely not.
Okay. Sure, Dark Blast. Oh, great.
All right.
Alright, what are we going for? 3 mana is...
Archdruid.
Sure.
Elvish Archdruid.
Lots of mana.
More mana, bigger men.
And remember, if you want to resolve like your Zenith for Azuri here, the reason it will resolve is Tim can Zenith for 5 and get Azuri. You know, that'll mean Caleb will have to find a 6-drop, which he doesn't even play. So if Tim, you know, you can over Zenith.
That's one thing that's nice about Greenston Zenith. Its interaction with counterbalance.
Right, you can. It's pretty resilient to counterbalance. So worried to draw it, I think the play is, you know, probably Zenith for 6 or something. Zenith for 5, but he might. I mean, he might not know that Caleb doesn't have Force of Will, so yeah, I would Zenith for 6. If I get to that point.
But sometimes you're forced to Zenith for Harmonic Sliver for large amounts.
Right. So I think Tim.
Does our elf player have a Harmonic Sliver?
No, he does not have a Harmonic Sliver. That's fine. I think I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
I still think if he draws a Zenith and a Zenith for Azuri here, the game can be his. He has a surprising number of overruns and Lord effects at his disposal. But Caleb now has drawn Dark Blast. We'll almost just start picking apart Tim's stuff.
Dark Blast is not that good with the Archdruid in play.
No, he has to go for the Archdruid first. Which means you have to have an extra draw to make that happen. Yeah, you could use a Brainstorm to get a second one, I suppose. Both these players currently at X and 1, I believe.
Yes, Caleb, I spoke to him in between rounds, and he lost earlier today to Goblins. So if he loses this match,
I think the thing with
2 tribal decks.
Yeah, Caleb's deck. Yeah, it's like it's got a lot of things going for it. I think against a very linear strategy, it might be a little weak. It kind of has a lot of, you know, mucks around a lot. Fyndhorn Elves, still not a worry. Tim gained life. That is off of. How did Tim gain life? Wasn't he at 8?
I thought he was at 8 also.
Okay. Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce will be good against a large Green Sun Zenith. So
Scavenging Ooze.
Alright, okay. Eating his own creatures. Which is good. He has no more use for them. Yeah, Spell Pierce, so he has to be aware of Spell Pierce so that he doesn't Zenith in, you know, he doesn't Zenith. Yeah, the amount you Zenith for is pretty interesting here. If he resolves an Azuri, the question is, can Caleb Dark Blast the Azuri? Like, and you know, can he kill the Azuri with Dark Blast? His own Scavenge Goose from Durward. In response, Tim should almost certainly eat his own graveyard. They could have a big fight over Tim's graveyard on end step, in which case Tim will win it. He has so much green mana. Like, Caleb shouldn't even fight over this. Tim can target his own creatures so many times. She gets it.
I mean, with Cradle, Archdruid,
Tim will win this
basic
fight.
forests.
Who can eat this creature more times? Yeah.
That mana is way more valuable than
Birchlow Rangers. Remember, Tim could have cast Birchlow Rangers on 0 if he had preferred. Both of them really poor mana costs against counterbalance.
Remember that morphs have a converted casting cost of 0, even though you're paying 3 mana for them.
Yeah. Yeah, both these players are at. Yeah, we had only 8 players undefeated going into this round actually. So, our last round when we saw Nick Marriott win, right, was actually he's XO1, not XO. He was being paired up. So. Among our players undefeated, just some local names of Joe Bernal, Ryan Overturf, Mike Hawthorne, Gene Richtsmeyer. We saw Gene yesterday on camera.
Joe Bernal still XO with his black-white deck.
Alright, so kind of back on Caleb's turn. Caleb's going to need a way to close out the game. I guess what we're seeing here is that's a little difficult. This is when you said the power of elves is that they have so much time on their side. You know, Caleb's having trouble winning through it. And still, I think Tim has this out of big Zenith into Azuri that Caleb's really hard pressed to stop. right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like he has forever, and that's why Elves is so good. Like, Caleb has
Visionary.
counterbalance top assembled, and it's still not.
Caleb not with a true way to win. All right, Visionary. Is that going to work? Let's see. Yeah, it's fine. It'll draw a card.
Feast and Famine is a true way to win.
Yes. Yep, there are a couple and another land for Tim.
Pernicious Deed.
Yep. Pernicious Deed gets it too. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Actually, so any of the okay. Caleb does have a true way to win. My mistake. Well, I think one of those will likely be how we see this game end. Either that or through a Zenith. So okay, if Stars Ocean is going to happen first, I kind of like the guy with the countertop. And with tops and fetch lands. I like that guy to find, to find his win con first. Alright, it's not in those top three, but maybe we'll try. Okay, he's just going to say go.
Yeah, they're just kind of passing back and forth.
And outside of the 4 Green Suns on us, I don't know if there's any live draws for Tim Wilson here. Regal Force, because then it draws the Green Sun Zenith.
Yes.
So
And Azuri will kill.
Yes. Azuri, so
Kill
Azuri, actually,
Very
you know
easily.
what? Emrakul. If he just draws Emrakul.
Oh yeah, he can just cast it.
Yeah, I mean, he has 15, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's 5. Yeah, he's got enough. Okay, so Tim, Emrakul, Azuri, Regal Force, 4 Green Sun Zeniths. I think 7 live draws. Caleb, only with 4, but he's got top and fetch lands going, so Caleb probably with virtually more. Alright, Caleb draws the Brainstorm. And top again. Gotta find it. Submerge, that buys him a turn. Probably worth taking. Each turn is so much better for Caleb than it is for Tim, but anything that, he gladly sacrifices draw step to just step Tim back a turn. Now, what's interesting is there's some advantage to Caleb playing his second counterbalance here, which I really like. That lets him, trigger, which is pretty real.
Yeah, it makes it really, really hard for Tim to do
Visionary from
anything.
Tim. Gonna let him have it. So another chance at a draw. Do you hit one of those 7 cards we're talking about? Yes or no?
Looks like he had a Symbiote.
That is not one of the cards we mentioned.
That will get countered.
No way that resolves. You can't let him have, no, absolutely not.
No.
Alright, Pierce, sure.
All right.
Listening before, the outs Tim is looking for. He is looking to find Azuri, Renegade Leader, Emrakul, Regal Force, or one of 4 Green Sun Zeniths. I think everything else is pretty much a dead draw here. That's still a fair number of things. Caleb trying to find Jace the Mind Sculptor. We're assuming he still's kept it in. Pernicious Deed, which he has to have. Oh my gosh. And what was our third one? There was another one, which we were pretty sure won.
Feast and Famine.
Sort of Feast and Famine.
Yeah.
He's going to submerge the large Scavenging Ooze. Alright. Play Eternal Witness on the Submerge. Buy another turn to submerge the Elvish Archdruid. Alright, that's very strong. That buys him so many turns.
A lot of turns.
Even so, if the third card down for Tim is Emrakul, I think he's got it. Throne will knock him down to 14. 14 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, despite
comes in
Caleb
2.
having an excellent draw here.
It's down to 8 for Wilson. Alright. So Tim will first draw. They have there are 3 minutes left in the round. They have a 5-minute extension. This is game 3. Alright, he's gonna Brainstorm. I think he doesn't have a 3 in his hand. I don't see a 3 there either, so that's gonna go to town. Okay, resolves. Not yet. Crack, fetch land, spin top. We really don't. And what a blowout if he finds the Pernicious Deed and then says, I will reveal Pernicious Deed. That would be the case.
That would be pretty brutal.
It will blow up the counterbalance, right? So that's probably why Caleb is not playing the second counterbalance, is because he wants to draw to Deed and wants to go Deed, crack counterbalance.
Seems to make sense.
Counterbalance and some stuff. Nope. Lord's good. Dark Blast. In response, we're still responding to the Lord, I imagine.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Land Realms is dead. He's gonna float a mana. All right. You can have it. It's good. Remember, his next draw is Scavenging Ooze.
Not a very exciting draw step.
Nope, not at all. Tim, no, I would not attack here. I don't think that's your out. I think you need to keep your blockers.
Just hang out.
Ooh, just take it if you're Caleb. That's great. Good. Yeah. Caleb drops to 10. But now Tim's going to have to make some chump blocks here. You know, Thrun, Scavenging Ooze, which is large, Eternal Witness, and Trinket Mage will get in. Tim at 8. This is pretty real. He's going to Dredge. Not because he wants the Dark Blast, but because he wants to reset the top of his library.
He wants a fresh 3 on top.
And then he's going to top in response to his draw.
Something I really like about
dredge
cards.
No, he's going to double Dark Blast. He's going to use the top to dredge.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's reasonable.
That's actually like greedier than I mean, I think Caleb recognizes there's an Emrakul in his deck, and he just like doesn't want that out to exist. Which, if that's true, I think that's fair. He gets 3 more non-cards, and then gets the Archer. Yeah, Caleb's actually just going to win with his dudes. I think Caleb is closing the window on things Tim can do to stay in the game.
Yeah,
Tim's next draw is Scavenging Ooze. I don't think Tim can get this.
It does not seem likely. These guys have a 5-minute extension. We're a little bit past the round.
About to call time. We're on the other end. But yeah, it's about 5 minutes left. I think Caleb can win. Even if we called time now, I think Caleb could win in turns.
I think you're right.
I think this was... Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this was Tim's match to lose.
Yeah, and that's
so
it.
Tim concedes. Caleb gets the match 2-1. Oh, Caleb Durward staying at X1 over Tim Wilson. I do